Hello and welcome again to the Middle Georgia Spotlight. I'm your host, Jack Ellis. In the Spotlight this week is Dr. Wade Scott, who is the owner of Scott's Pharmacy, and joining him is Pastor James Baker, who is a leader in the religious community here in Macon. And they're here to discuss today, among other things, this COVID vaccine, why it's important to get it. Let me welcome both of you to our program.
Thank you.
Dr. Scott, why is it, not why is it, that's an question I know, but for the general public, why is it important for leaders, especially African American leaders, to get out front on this and encourage everyone to get this vaccine?
Well, there's a lot of mistrust in the minority community, in the black community, nationwide, and as well as here in Bibb County and Central Georgia. And it's a lot of trust. You know, we all know about it, go all the way back to the Tuskegee experiment and so forth. And I want to clear up a little bit about the Tuskegee experiment, if I may. The Tuskegee experiment was not due to a vaccine or a medication they was given the patient, the black subjects, but it was really more the lack of, they didn't give it to them. So when they knew how bad the syphilis was doing, they knew how well this antibiotic therapy was working, they held it back to see how far the disease could progress. So this is the flip side of that. So we want to give the vaccine. We want to ensure that everybody get vaccinated to keep from having these, keep from dying or getting sick or even dying. So I want to make sure that the public is clear about that. This is just the reverse of what's happened in Tuskegee, Alabama.
So we're talking about misinformation. You're trying to give correct information.
Correct information. So they didn't give them something bad. They withheld it.
Right.
And so now we want to give you something that will save your life. It's no different than all the childhood vaccinations. So the word vaccination is nothing new. We've been getting vaccinated for a variety of things since birth.
Exactly.
And so, and also dealing with the coronavirus vaccine is not new. The coronavirus itself is not new.
Exactly.
So they've been studying this particular virus for many years. The vaccine itself is new,
and safe.
And it's safe, and the platform is messenger RNA, not DNA. So when people think about DNA, they think about all types of cloning and and you name it, all types of birth defects, and a lot of that is due to the DNA. But this right here has nothing to do with that.
Well, till we talk about it, listen to the science, look at the science, listen to the scientists.
Right.
Well, Pastor Baker, we know that the African American preachers always been the forefront of social change in our community. So it makes sense that the pastors, the preachers would be out front trying to dispel whatever myth and trying to encourage people to get the shot. What type of resistance have you had? Have you seen generally in your congregation or other congregation? Is it still the resistance there, or you think we're making it a headway?
Sometimes I think we do. Then there are some days I think we don't. But we as the faith, so many of the faith leaders have died from COVID-19.
And we want to talk a little bit about that later on.
And that's why I was sitting in my chair just speaking with God and say, you got to do something. Because it got in my spirit, my mind, and my heart. Do something. Go out there and give a message. Suggest first, take the shot. But the first thing I did, though, Mary Ellis, I went and did my research, and I'm researching daily, and I started looking at the numbers. We started dying at an alarming rate, and then when it got around me, that's when I said I need to sound the alarm. So I'm sitting in my chair one night, a young man called me. He said, man, you need to talk with Dr. Scott. And I think I called Dr. Scott the next day, and we talked 2 hours. And all of this, as we keep speaking, came together in probably 7 days. And we are probably in our 4th week in it. And it has went viral. We're getting phone calls. We got Dr. Veronica Rice, president of Morehouse School of Medicine, sending us educational pieces. We got Dr. R.B. Holmes called me yesterday from Tallahassee, Florida. We got Franklin Richardson from New York. These are people also, Congressional Black Caucus, again, Zoom calls. So we getting the information we need to educate our people. Scripture say our people perish based on their lack of knowledge. And our people are perishing in this season that we're in. And I'm a pretty much young man, and I never seen nothing like this before.
Well, I'm 75, and I've never seen anything like that. And that's young too.
Okay.
But on the serious side, as you said, faith leaders have fallen. Young faith, and I want to give condolences to especially the young Pastor Range, who
Yes.
is 44, 45 years old, in good health, everyone would say, look from the looks of it. And so he probably is the youngest pastor. But how many pastors have we lost in this vicinity in Macon, Mill, Georgia, that you are aware of?
In this vicinity, because I'm known all over the state of Georgia and across the country, we counted the other night, I think it's about 25, and all different ages. And we're hearing some pastors, faith leaders, saying they're going to operate off faith only. But then I got to go with the scripture. Faith without works is dead. And Pastor Raines just instilled me more to go after this a little harder, because on a personal tip, that thing hurt me.
Oh, of course.
His death hurt me like no other, because he's one of those individuals would be at this table right now.
He's been here before.
Right. And because this is a great cause for our people. And we are at a season where black people need to sit at the table and talk to black people about their health. So the trust factor, it's a lot of mistrust now. So I'm just thanking God for Dr. Scott, his position in the community, and that he's willing to take a stand. But there are our leaders, gatekeepers, would not take a stand on this cause.
You know, early on in this pandemic, I had I had some pastors on too, Pastor Stanley on a year ago, but also had on Dr. Frederick Burton, who is a physician here in this congregation. This congregation is his customer, patient base, primarily African American, primarily older people with some pre-existing conditions. And he was really flabbergasted as to how this thing had taken hold. So you're absolutely right. It has taken hold in the black community in a way that it hasn't in other communities. As you said, we have to take better care of our health. And we just have to be forthright about that we have to take better care of our health so that we can guard against things. Not to blame the victim now. We don't want to victimize the people who've been stricken with this, but I think we do have some things we have to do, and I'm glad you said that. But getting back to the medical side of this, Dr. Scott, I understand now that pharmacists such as yours will be given this vaccine. And the sponsor of this program, Caduceus Medicine, Dr. Dawkins, and I know that Occupation Health, they're going to be given some in their place as well, and we thank him for his sponsorship. But I understand you will be given that vaccine, it'll be available in pharmacies going forward. Is that true?
Well, we are giving the vaccine right now, so we are actually vaccinating people.
The availability, so you have a big supply?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And so right now they can go to Scott's Pharmacy1.com, and we have a little place where you can sign up for it and register, or they can just call the pharmacy and we can sign them up right there. We can register them and give them an appointment for the time to come. But we are actually vaccinating people right now. Yeah. They actually just did a study, the federal government did a study, and kind of find out that most people would prefer to give their vaccines from a pharmacy than maybe other than a mass, type place that because again, they trust the pharmacists, and we here at Scott's Pharmacy, we have done vaccinations for probably the last 25 years, and but it's quite simple. Everybody, and I've got to get this out too as well. It is no charge.
Free.
It's free. We do ask you to bring your insurance and bring your Medicare card. So we are required to try to build your insurance. But if we cannot build your insurance, it's free to everyone.
If you don't have an insurance,
Just
you
come
show
on,
up and
just
get
come on. You will not be turned away. Just call in, get an appointment, and no one will be turned away.
Yeah.
And currently, we can vaccinate at Scott's Pharmacy. Now we can vaccinate anybody 18 years and older. So we have the Moderna vaccine in, and we will be getting the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is a 1 dose, in very soon. Now, in the state of Georgia, anybody over the age of 16. So I had a guy come in the store today. He was saying, "Well, it's not my time yet." Well, it's everybody. If you're over 16,
yeah, it's your time.
it's your time. And the sooner you get it, we can talk a little bit about the various strains going on, but as soon as you can get that vaccination, that vaccine, the better.
Yeah. Now I heard on the public radio this morning that the president's going to be giving even more to pharmacies. Is this in addition to they're going to increase the amount that's going to different pharmacies?
So basically, so there was 2 tracks: the state and the federal. In the beginning, on the previous administration, it was more or less give everything to the state, and then the state would distribute it, and the state did the best they could, and the state of Georgia did pretty good. We got our vaccine in actually from the state, and we're still waiting on the federal, and so the federal been a little bit more red tape and so forth, but when President Biden said he's just going to pretty much open up the floodgates,
Yeah.
and before we had to say, if you order say 200 doses. They'll send you 100 doses, and now whatever you can hold in your freezer, they will send it to you. So he's really making a difference. It's kind of reducing some of the red tape. So if you think you can do 1,000 doses, order 1,000, and we will ship you the whole 1,000.
I heard him state that everyone within a 5-mile radius, wherever they live, should be able to get a vaccine. I don't know whether that's too long or too short of distance, but get the vaccine, what we're saying. Now, Pastor, let's talk about the church community, the faith community. How can we measure? You're not going to church now. Most people are not. You're doing it virtually. How can you measure the effectiveness of this in the black community thus far, the African American community, or the minority community, period, where we say there's been a reluctance to get it? How are you measured? Do you have any metrics that you can measure as to how we're doing penetration-wise?
We're not doing good based on the numbers. I believe in numbers too. Because I think Macon-Bibb County probably only done about 20, 25,000. Now, we look at our population. Out of that 25,000, you probably got 7,000 come from out of town because we was not taking the shot here. The first day they came out with the mass sites in Albany, Georgia, they took 1,200 shots, only 100 people came. So we're saying to ourselves not to tell people to take the shot, but to suggest to people to take the shot.
I'm telling people to take
Okay,
it.
listen to
Because I feel
listen,
comfortable with that. Take the
Plus,
shot.
we're reaching more people now based on YouTube and Facebook Live than we was in person. So we have it on our Facebook website, and we're asking everyone to do this. But when we talk about our people, the church just got its trust back. It had lost its power for a while. And this affected the church. This COVID affected the church to where this the first time in history the church had to close down. And now we still running up under CDC guidelines. So when we look at the effectiveness of our community, everything for me go grassroots. We got to get out and meet people where they are. That's why partnership is so amazing. If we bring people to the table, like-minded, like-spirited, with no fear, and go to where the people are. Me and Dr. Scott be laughing a lot. We got to go up under the trees, bruh. We got to talk to our brothers and our sisters.
Sure.
So that's why the partnership, not with just Dr. Scott, but Macon Bibb EOC, Harriet Tubman.
Housing Authority, I would hope.
We gonna get to them because they're on our to-do list. Because we know we got to go to the Housing Authority. Sometimes we even got to be downtown at night in our clubs.
Sure.
We got to do a grassroots sweep of Macon, Georgia.
This is a major campaign.
It's major.
It's a campaign. It's like running a campaign.
And what I like about it more than anything, this is not about one person. This is about a community.
And this is not, did you have I know you all have this major campaign. Do you have funds? Are you doing it strictly on a bootstrap of your shoestring level, or you just getting free message, free media, if you will?
For right now, everything is free. But when we came out with the commercial, they seen your picture, money started coming in.
Oh.
But we got Blue Shield, Blue Cross, just got on the phone with them. We got funders coming in now, Attorney Virgil Adams, Attorney Forrest Johnson, because we're not a 501c3, but we're going to work up under the umbrella of another 501c3, which is Macon Bibb EOC.
To get the word out.
To get the word, to get the funding.
Get some funding to help get the word out.
Yeah.
Help get the word out. So the funding is coming, but we had to step out on faith because of the urgency of what's going on. I'm going to say this and let Dr. Scott. They're saying around June or July, age group 30 to 39, if they do not have their shot, they're going to die at an alarming rate, bro.
And that's because now, Doc, this is because this other virus, this other strand that is coming back strong now. People have letting their guards down. So what's your message to people about this thing, where we are now?
Well, here's a situation where everyone needs to get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated and I'm vaccinated, then the virus, that will stop the virus. So I can
herd immunity
early immunity, and that will stop. But if you're not, and then if you got, the virus is constantly mutating, constantly. And the thing about virus, they replicate at such high rate. That's mutation going on in life. And even humans, there's some very bad outcomes sometimes in births of humans. So there's always mutation going on. And there's a lot of mutation that's going on with this virus. Most of them are not of no consequence, but 3 or 4 of them could be very, very potent. And if that mutation, so let's say we're getting the first strain under control, but if you got 200 million people who have not been vaccinated, and this mutant strain, this variant strain, is actually more potent, so it's going to spread at a much higher rate. So the peak that we saw in August and April of last year, we can see it again, even with so many people being vaccinated. So if everybody got vaccinated, we will stop this virus, along with the variant strain in its place. But if we don't, and that variant keeps spreading, you're going to see the death rate is just going to, it's like we didn't have a vaccine.
And you're not trying to scare people. You're just talking facts. You're talking science here. We're not trying to scare people. This is reality, what you're talking.
This is reality. And as Pastor Baker was saying, every day, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. And you just, please take it. But because I think in some people's mind, if you take it and you take it, then I don't have to take it. Okay. Right. Yeah. And I think that's what's going on in some people's psyche, along with the distrust. But when you got so many people that are not taking it, and so the virus got, say a couple 100 million people in the United States, that they can still, that this virus can still infect. So that's a lot of people can die. So we got 550,000 people already died. It can go up to 1 million with the vaccine, and that's the scary part about it. So we're trying to inform people, and I'm asking those people, your audience that's listening in, if you want to talk to me personally, just call the pharmacy, call Scott's Pharmacy. I would take the time out and talk to you one-on-one, but talk to someone.
Yeah.
and get the vaccine. And like I like to say, if it's not for yourself, do it for the loved ones.
Yeah.
You may not die, you may not even get sick, but you can give it to your grandmother,
Yeah.
Your brother with COPD or whatever. And so if you don't do it for yourself, do it for others.
Yeah. And let me commend you for answering the call. Pastor Bacon said he called you because you are a businessman. But what I hear you saying here, this is not about making money. You're doing this free. The community's been good to you and you're giving back. You've always given back. I know that. But so this is not, so people shouldn't get the idea, I want you to come to Scott's Farmers so you can buy something. Just come and get the shot. That's what we're talking about.
And I've been saying it from day one. And matter of fact, we got the vaccine in 2 weeks ago. And we were telling people, and a lot of people, because they trust me so much, they say, I'm not going to get it until you get yours. I said, please do not wait for me. Because, again, you're going to get it next week, you're going to get it next month. I said, don't wait for me.
Get it now.
You get it now. It's not about me. And I'm telling people now, anywhere you see anybody getting the vaccine, if you can get in that line, get in that line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you. We are talking with Dr. Wade Scott from Scott's Pharmacists, as well as Pastor James Baker, who is a pastor at New Beginnings Baptist Church here in Macon. And they're talking about the importance of taking this vaccine for the coronavirus. So we want to encourage each and every one of you to take due in time to notice. If you're eligible to get the shot, get the shot. Now, Pastor Baker, it was last year at this table that I spoke to a local pastor, Pastor Stanley, from, what's the name of this church? Union Baptist Church in East Macon. And he was telling me the difficulties of worship, especially during the Easter was coming up. Easter's coming up again. Do you anticipate, because the governor has said he's going to relax all of these measures going forward, I mean, even maybe as early as Easter. Do you anticipate most churches opening up once the governor says, or are you going to be guided by the CDC?
Well, personally, I'm going to be guided by the CDC because I've asked...
In good sense.
Because I've asked all my, who God have allowed to be up under me to get the shot. Because sooner or later, you're going to have to show your card to come into worship.
In your church?
At my church, where I pastor at. Because we cannot keep putting people in harm's way. So we worship sometimes off emotions because of a certain day. But if you look at the 4 largest places where the virus spread, one of them is worship service. It's in the top 4. Cafes, bars, restaurants, other 3. So why would I allow my people to get in harm's way if I say I love them? So this Easter Sunday, I call it Resurrection Sunday. What we're going to do is continue Facebook Live, because we got everything in the, we do preventive measures at our church. We spray our church down every weekend. We take temperatures. Everybody got to have on a mask but me, because I'm away from the people. And it's working so far. No one in our church have gotten coronavirus.
That's good.
Brought coronavirus. But there's one more message I want to carry. Every weekend for the last 8 or 9 weekends, we've been doing testing for the virus. Our young people are coming up positive.
I heard that.
The age group from 10 to 21. Now, we've been going to rural Georgia, where health care is worse than here in Macon. And our young people are coming up positive, and no one is doing anything about it.
You mean in terms of getting the information to them? Or
getting the information to them, getting them COVID testing, because we went to Soberton, Georgia, for instance. Wasn't nobody testing there. Had not tested during this whole year. And McCain Lab here in Macon, Georgia, came to me and said, I want you to pick some spots where we can make a difference. Because I'm one of those individuals, I need to know if I'm sick or not. And young people's immune system is greater than old people, so young people can be super spreaders.
Yeah, and I understand they are. But Dr. Scott, getting back to the population that you see all the time coming to your pharmacies,
Yes.
both black and white. And a lot of people do have pre-existing conditions. You know what they are because they come to you for that. They come to you for their medication to treat those pre-existing. How widespread? And we're not talking about giving anybody's medical history, but just in a macro level, macro maybe at a large level. How serious is the health outcomes in Macon, Bibb County?
It's very serious in terms of the bad outcomes.
Yes.
That's what you mean.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's if you go down the disparities and look at the outcomes in almost every particular disease you want to name, that's disparities. And a lot of that due to, like Pastor Baker was saying, is lack of knowledge and lack of education and lack of training. So if I may pivot a little bit to where the council was established.
Yes,
So
please.
this Middle Georgia Council on Health and Wellness and Disparities. So we realized, Pastor Baker and I really had a similar vision that when he came to me, and I said, I've been thinking about this for a while, and just sitting on it, God has been talking to me, you got to get out and do something. And so he came to me, it was his vision, and it just kind of came together. But the Health and Wellness and Disparity Council is, we're going to take care of this pandemic. We're going to take care of this storm we're in.
Yes, but long term.
But long term. But we know the disparity in terms of the death rate. Where did that come from? That's come from the pre-existing conditions, diabetes, asthma. And so the purpose of the council, once we get past this here, is to create training program. And I believe that we need to start like at the age of 2. And we envision that having little training books at every age, that's what we're going to be calling upon child psychologists and educators, and we want to create training program at that level. It's gonna take
great.
Generational
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, because
to
it's
make
a generational problem.
It's a generational problem.
Yeah.
So we'll not we don't have any misunderstanding. This is big, and it's gonna take time. But if you are not a part, I like to say, if you're not part of the solution, you are the problem.
You're not part of the problem. You become the problem.
So we got to.
This is good news.
We got to get out here, and I'm just very excited when I was speaking with the EOC and the Housing Authority, because I almost got happy in the meeting we had.
You got happy.
Because that's where we want to be.
Well,
we
great.
want to go to the least among us. But this thing here is comprehensive, and it's going to be big, and hopefully it's going to touch everyone here in Middle Georgia.
Well, great. You all are doing a great job, and I commend both of you. We have about 10 seconds left, Pastor. We'll give you the last 15-second word. If there's something you just need to say, I have to
Yes, ministry always take money. We always think ministry is about faith. So if you want to donate to this ministry,
go to Scott's Pharmacy.
go to Scott Pharmacy or Macon Bibb EOC.
Great, and the money will be accounted for.
And the money be
We know
accounted
that.
for.
Especially if the preachers have it, it'll be accounted for.
That's why
because we are accustomed to giving you our money every Sunday
No,
anyway.
but that's why we're giving it to Macon Bibb EOC.
we trust you all. We
Yes,
trust both of you.
yes.
And we thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for what you're doing. And count me in on this council if I can help
Okay,
in any
okay,
way.
okay.
On the fit, I've written
For sure.
extensively about the health disparities in this town. And we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us this week here on the Middle Georgia Spotlight. For Dr. Scott, for Pastor Baker, I'm Jack Ellis. Until next week.